I am Babla Jonathan, and this is the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Équinoxe Television, live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. And our top stories in this edition of the news: 5 children of the same family have perished in a road accident. The accident occurred in the west region of the Republic of Cameroon, and Cameroonian billionaire financial expert Paul Foucan decries the begging attitude of African countries faced with the coronavirus pandemic. He says African countries should use the coronavirus pandemic to take back and consolidate their independence. Also in this newscast, we will tell you the heartbreaking story of a victim of torture by law enforcement officers in the Republic of Cameroon. We begin this newscast with the sad story of a family that has lost 5 of its children in the same road accident. The accident occurred in the west region of the country, and the accident left 5 children of the same family dead and other victims injured, as Manjikan Gabriel reports.
Vehicles getting into Bafoussam on a standstill. Commercial bike riders and other road users blocked. This is Bado, a locality at the entrance into Mbuda on the National Road number 6 on the Bafoussam-Bamenda Highway, where a lorry transporting cement has just made away with the lives of 5 children from the same family. Witness account says the children were accompanying their parents to their farm at Bamenjinda before the incident occurred. My children were moving in the same group to the farm with their mother behind them. The car had a mechanical fault before hitting the children. The children, whose ages ranged between 14 to 18, were later transported to the Mbuda Hospital mortuary, alongside the 2 injured cases who have been administered treatment by doctors at the Mbuda District Hospital. On the National Road number 5, it was a 70-seater bus that was pushed into a valley by a lorry in the early hours of Wednesday.
Be very fast. I was not sleeping, but some of the passengers were sleeping. We just hear boom.
The 70-seater bus, we were told, was heading to the west region when the incident occurred. According to road users, Mujuka, where the accident occurred, is noted for such. The poor state of the National Road number 5 is the main reason advanced by all.
The accident now because of the route. Route don't overspoil. Route to go west no day. For Douala reach west, route no day. No una see route. People they die so for waiting. Where any man they buy and pull.
35 passengers in the 70-seater bus were injured and are now receiving treatment at the Mbanga District Hospital, and others who came out safe shed tears of joy. Meanwhile, circulation that was grounded along the National Road number 5 at Mujuka was reinstated by officials of the gendarmerie who descended from Banga.
In the report coming up next, Innocent narrates the sad story of a victim of torture by law enforcement officers in the Republic of Cameroon. Ibrahim Bello is today without legs because of the torture he was subjected to while in custody. Those who tortured him have been sentenced or slammed a 3-year and 4-year jail term respectively, and they will have to pay a fine of 50 million francs CFA. Innocent as has more.
He was in the corridor of life and death as he was being transported to the Yaoundé Central Hospital from Ombessa, near Bafia, where he was victim of torture in a police station. Ibrahim Bello retained his breath but unfortunately got his legs amputated in 2017. For adequate care, he was transferred to the National Rehabilitation Center for Handicapped Persons in Etoukebe in Yaoundé. 3 years after, his condition stabilized.
Monsieur Ibrahim Bello,
Dr. Alexandre Manga, director of the center, affirms Ibrahim Bello is faring well. He cites 3 principal objectives they had, being his social and psychological follow-up, ensure he regains education, and lastly, procurement of his working equipment so as to enable him displace himself.
et ensuite apprendre à marcher.
From 2017 to 2020, Bello's education resumed in 2 phases.
La première phase pendant 2 ans, nous l'avons confiné dans une chambre individuelle.
The first phase in 2 years, we confined him in a special room where only medics visited, exchanged and worked with him.
La dernière année, nous l'avons non sorti.
The last year, we put him in a public room for his reintegration. Every day, we made rounds, observing his physical and psychological states.
Les psychologues travaillent en intimité avec nous.
With 8 of crutches, a wheelchair, and prosthetic legs, Ibrahim Bello can now stand on his both feet. As for his torturers, after several years of trial, the Bafia Court of First Instance in the Central Region issued 4 and 3 years jail sentence each against the police inspector Joseph Desiree Sark and the police officer Joel Cyril Bikowonzi respectively. The court also orders them to pay 50 million francs CFA to Ibrahim Bello for damages. However, the defense lawyers said the jail sentence and the fine are too light, demanding at least 1 billion francs CFA for damages.
Ces peines nous semblent très faibles.
They also criticized the judgment, describing it as iniquitous. Barrister Emmanuel Sim says the 2 police officers were under the scope of Article 277 of the Cameroon Penal Code and risk between 10 to 20 years of imprisonment. The defense team has appealed to the Central Court of Appeal to restart the trial for proper and deserved judgment.
Justificatif, accorder une somme plus importante que celle-là.
Ibrahim Bello, who suffered torture to the point of death, can now work with its equipment while the case continues in courts.
A polyclinic here in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala, where a fight recently broke out between a member of or members of a family who lost one of theirs, said to have died of coronavirus, and forces of law and order has been shut down by the Minister of Public Health, Dr. Manauta Malachi. The polyclinic Marie O here in Douala has been closed down for illegal practices. Recently, as I indicated earlier, some relatives of a man who is said to have died of COVID-19 got into a clash with forces of law and others. They struggled to take out of the clinic the relative who died of coronavirus. Now Smanjik and Gabriel comes back to what happened at that health amenity here in Douala.
The lifeless body of a suspected COVID-19 patient lying in the middle of the road. We are at the Bali neighborhood in the Douala 1 subdivision, where a family forcefully removed their dead father from a private clinic after they were told he died of COVID-19. The family refuted the doctor's report, saying their father wasn't infected.
Nous sommes allés aux garnisons militaires, étant aux garnisons.
We went to the military hospital where they sent us to the general hospital. There was no oxygen, and that is how we came to this clinic. As we arrived, they gave us some documents to fill, telling us that our father has been infected by COVID-19 without any test done. They asked us to deposit a caution of 250,000 francs for him to be given oxygen. On Friday, they asked us the sum of 1 million francs CFA, but unfortunately, we gave 750,000 francs CFA. On Sunday, when we came to ask the condition of our father, they told us it was very bad. Monday, when we came back, we told them that if they don't allow us to see our father, we're not going to drop the 400,000 francs CFA left. There, we were informed our father is dead.
Lundi matin, on s'est retrouvés ici, on a dit que ok, si vous ne nous donnez pas l'état du vieux, on ne peut plus verser l'argent, les 400 000 qui restent. Maintenant que le père est décédé, et il est décédé de l'AVC et du Covid.
Successfully, they will hire a taxi which accepts to carry the corpse. And gendarmes will follow them later to take the corpse back. The doctor at the private clinic says the man in question was brought to them after most of the renowned hospitals in Douala were overcrowded with patients.
Je voudrais d'abord dire que je m'associe.
I feel the pains of the family. It is a normal scenario for people who have lost a loved one. At the beginning, we were told it was a cerebrovascular attack. Luckily, the doctor asked why a patient with a cerebrovascular attack should be using oxygen, and there we asked them to do a thoracic X-ray while waiting for the COVID-19 test. The thoracic X-ray result came out, and we saw that the man was suffering from a bilateral interstitial pneumonia, reasons why he was admitted at the COVID unit while waiting for his transfer to La Quintini Hospital without space.
Nous leur avons demandé plusieurs fois qu'il fallait transférer leur père à l'hôpital La Quintini. Ils ont dit qu'il était soigné ici. Nous n'avons pas manqué d'attirer leur attention sur la gravité des faits, comme l'a testé le scanner, avec une atteinte à plus de 70%.
The corpse, we were told, was later brought back to the clinic where he died while waiting for preparations to bury him like any other COVID-19 patient.
And the COVID-19 figures are still rising in the Republic of Cameroon, and the impact of the COVID-19 on the economy is also worsening as the pandemic continues engulfing the entire country, and employers or workers, trade unionists are now stepping up efforts to mitigate the impact of the COVID-19 on enterprises in the country. Over 70% of enterprises in the Republic of Cameroon are affected by the coronavirus, and over 50% are severely affected, especially small and medium-sized enterprises. And some of the workers' trade unionists were meeting today with officials of the Cameroon Employers Union, GICAM, today here in Douala, and they were discussing strategies on how to step up efforts to mitigate or reduce the impact of the COVID-19 on companies in the country, and the urging governments to go a little more above what it has already done so far to ensure that companies do not die, that the companies can continue functioning even after the coronavirus pandemic. And for greater details, here's an extract of Andre Seme. He is the president of the Union of Free Trade Unions of Cameroon. Take a listen.
Because this great pandemic is creating more difficulties for enterprise. When we are talking about enterprises, we are talking about workers. We are talking about economy in general. And then we have to see how to take some decision to help the government in the way it has taken. We have proposed some measure to add to what has been done till now by the government, because we think they are not sufficient. The government has to go further. The government provides 25 billion francs to support the enterprise. We think it is less than the real step created by this COVID-19, because we think it must be higher than this amount. And the other one is that the government must not take measure without taking in consideration our way of doing employers and employee by our organization. The government must work with us in order to take measure when it is something for the whole society. Transport, we are talking tourism, hotels and so on, and the commercial sectors is the one who has been very affected. And now the measure must be added, because the pandemic is not at end. It is still going. Then now we must take more than what we have done, because we have to provide what will occur tomorrow.
Yesterday, Cameroon recorded 111 new confirmed cases of the coronavirus. 11 more persons died of the COVID-19 and 19 others have been successfully treated. The figures are still rising in the Republic of Cameroon, and at a time when government officials, civil society and political leaders are preaching the watch your hand regularly message to prevent the spread of COVID-19, many Cameroonians are deprived of water, notably potable water. And we're taking you in this news to the Mongo division, where several localities have not had pipe-borne water for a long period of time. Details with Equinoxe.
For several months, inhabitants of Konsamba in the Mongo division of the Littoral region have been living without potable water at a time when the population is expected to adhere to hygiene rules, notably washing of hands with clean tap water and soap to avoid contracting coronavirus.
Voilà qu'avec l'infection du Covid-19, nous n'avions ni d'eau pour se laver les mains.
But how will the population respect the sanitation measure prescribed by the Yaoundé regime's Ministry of Public Health when access to potable water remains a far-fetched dream?
Voilà, bon, on ne sait pas comment on va faire même pour s'en sortir de ce coronavirus.
There will be a rapid spread if a case is detected.
S'il arrive vraiment que nous sommes victimes ici, nous allons tous mourir parce qu'on n'a ni désinfectant, ni d'eau à boire, ni de savon pour se laver les mains.
Locals rely on doubtful sources to get the precious liquid for drinking and cooking. They cover long distances to fetch from streams.
Comment comprendre que dans un pays où tous les départements portent le nom d'un cours d'eau, qu'on puisse avoir des difficultés à avoir de l'eau?
Ce problème de manque d'eau à boire est en train de nous paralyser et de paralyser tout le quartier.
This inhabitant, because he has no other alternative, fetches water from this exposed well for not only washing but cooking.
On peut le faire parce qu'on n'a pas le choix.
Others drink from the borehole.
Maintenant, surtout, nous sommes en train de préparer avec. Je ne sais même pas si certaines personnes consomment.
In Konsamba, taps often run dry, but exorbitant bills are served them by agents of the water production and distribution company.
Today, the President of the Republic of Cameroon, Paul Biya, and the Special Envoy of the United Nations Secretary General discussed the socio-political, security and health situation of the Republic of Cameroon. Francois Lonsini was received in an audience at the Unity Palace in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, by the President of the Republic, and he is the special representative of the Secretary General of the United Nations Organization, and both officials discussed the COVID-19 pandemic, the evolution of the pandemic and the management in the Republic of Cameroon and elsewhere on the African continent. They also discussed the economic impact of the pandemic and the security challenges, notably in the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon. And speaking to the press after the meeting with the President of the Republic of Cameroon, the special representative of the United Nations Secretary General pledged the support of the organization to Cameroon with regards to efforts to restore peace and normalcy in the northwest and southwest regions of the country, and also to solve the other problems affecting the country, notably the coronavirus pandemic. It should be recalled that the United Nations Secretary General and the Pope are mounting pressure on the President of the Republic of Cameroon, according to a Catholic newspaper, to call for a ceasefire in the northwest and southwest regions of the country and discuss with the separatists in order to restore peace in that part of Cameroon. Now we talk about one of our lead stories. Cameroonian billionaire financial expert Paul Fokam has decried the begging attitude of African countries facing the coronavirus pandemic. He says that Africans must stop begging for help from abroad. They need to find solutions to the problems of the continent, to the coronavirus pandemic themselves, and that the African countries have to use the coronavirus pandemic to take back and consolidate their independence. For me, Armstrong Sander has more.
With the merciless negative impact of the coronavirus pandemic, some hardest hit African countries have remained perplexed and helpless for the past 3 months. Some of these countries like Cameroon, Ivory Coast, Senegal, Burkina Faso, Mali and others have chosen to be beggars from international financial institutions with the hope to save their economies. This approach to be redeemed by borrowing has been described as shocking by Paul Fokam, founder of Afriland First Bank, who wonders why African leaders should go begging instead of bringing together African talents to find a lasting solution in a continent richest in natural resources. Paul Fokam is disappointed with the call for financial and food aid by African countries. The financial expert says Africa's begging strategy will only help to save lives in the short run, but only short, medium and long-term measures that can enable local food, textile, automobile production as well as the fabrication of construction materials can give independent economic strength to Africa. In his analysis, Paul Fokam calls for the development of pharmaceutical industries for the transformation of medicinal plants in Africa and the training of health personnel, as well as the building of health infrastructures. Paul Fokam Kemonie also recommends the reinvention of the African educational system to be fit for future challenges. The Cameroonian billionaire says these African solutions will help Africa to reduce its vulnerability and restore its dignity. He insists that the coronavirus pandemic is an opportunity for Africa to gain its independence. The founder of Afriland First Bank also called on the world to learn from the COVID-19 pandemic that has exposed the weaknesses and equality of mankind irrespective of race and skin color. Paul Fokam Kemonie also called for a global solidarity with the objective to limit economic and socio-political conflict in order to quickly come out of COVID-19 and save the future generation.
Lawyers in the Fako Division, Southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon have issued a statement condemning the dismissal of Barrister Agbo Bala from the University of Buea. Barrister Agbo Bala came under severe disciplinary pressure after he said examination questions on the Anglophone crisis, and shortly after he was summoned to the university for a disciplinary session which he did not attend on grounds that he was not someone following the right procedures. His contract was simply suspended, and the Fako Lawyers Association says in a statement that it is weeping for the University of Buea, which was initially created to be a purely Anglo-Saxon university with values including autonomy and independence, but today is being influenced. Notably, the administration of the university is being influenced by the Yaoundé administration to shape its functioning according to their dictates. Details with Immaculate Fogwe.
Fako Lawyers Association, in a two-paged document, have condemned the prompt dismissal of Barrister Congo Felix Agbo Bala as lecturer of law in the University of Buea. The human rights defender was dismissed for certain questions during the first semester examination concerning the Anglophone crisis. The question reads: the Anglophone crisis since 2016 was caused by the lawyers and teachers strike. Assess the validity of this statement. According to Fakla, the reasons advanced for his dismissal are untenable as no factual breaches were raised by the disciplinary council. They added that his dismissal is politically motivated, thus an infringement of human rights. Fakla adds that, though it is not supposed to interfere in the labor relation between the University of Buea and its employee, the circumstances behind his said dismissal raises pertinent human rights concerns which mandate their condemnation. Finally, Fakla weeps that the University of Buea, which was created to operate as an Anglo-Saxon university, now allows itself to be manipulated by political considerations.
That's it for this edition of the 6 p.m. Primetime Newscast on Equinoxe Television. Thanks for staying with us.